Okay, everybody, this is part 3 of Finishing Furniture, chapter 9 in your textbook. So I'm just trying to make sure that we see what we need to see in Panopto, so give me just a minute here. Okay, think I'm ready. So let's get going on this particular one. If you'll look at the PowerPoint so we can kind of make sure that we're together here. One of the things that every commercial fabric, finish, floor covering that can go has to be tested. So we talked about samples, and remember I was saying in the interior in your IBC code book, you're looking in the interiors and it's telling you if it's the category, if it's in the exit way, or if it's in the corridor or room, if it's sprinkled or non-sprinkler, what you do. But just so that you'll understand, you should go to the sample room and look at the sample, or go to a fabric place and you pick out all your different fabrics. But before you decide if it's going on a piece of furniture or you're going to use it as wall covering, you need to make sure that you're looking at what it says on the back. So we're going to look at a couple of things, illustrations here for you to notice. So, always on the back, it's going to give the name, of course, the company name. It's going to be the name of the fabric, the color, the width, the repeat, if there's one, what it's made out of, finishing, the backing. So this is more of an upholstered fabric. And then it's going to give all of the fire codes. So you need to know what these fire codes, but one of the things I'm going to get real close so that you can see is that it says it's a class 1. Okay? So a class 1 in through here, even though it's not giving us an A, B, C, or whatever, it's giving us the Cal 117, 213 when it went through this, NFPA 260, and it's going through. So you can go back to your different test methods, which we talked about in our book, our textbook, and you could make a copy of one of those kind of to make sure that you understand where it may be. Okay, so if you open your textbook on page 427, you can see, of course, here, remember looking at that sample, it said the NFPA 260. It's called, let me get the pencil out of the way. We're talking about smolder resistant test. That's what it's talking about. And the Cal 117, which is similar. And it's kind of telling you what the ratings, class 1 and 2. So it's giving you those fabrics and where it can be located on that, so that you can understand. So sometimes you have to go back through and look at. But also, of course, it tells you how it's rated or what it can be used to. If you look at what I call these particular pictures right here at the bottom of the tag, you'll see an A, you'll see a fire, you see like painting, a star, sunshine, and then a star. So we're going to learn a little bit about what those are if we get a little closer so that you can see what those are in relationship. Okay? So one of the other things, so if you looked at wall covering, it may be different wall coverings that you may have from Lanark, or it's a type 2. It tells you it's type 2 wall covering. But in through here, you're going to see on the back of it, it's going to give you the specs. Okay, so I'm going to try to get this worked out here so you will see the specs that are going on through here. And it will tell you in through here, it talks about the pattern, the backing, the pattern match. All of those things are things that we kind of keep in mind. But it also says fire test, class A. So therefore you can go back, remember, because it gives you ASTM E84, NFPA 101, and an IBC. So if I'm looking at class A, that means anything, of course, that you have it here, and it says it has to be A, you can use it. Okay? If you find something and it's B, you can always use an A. You just can't use a C. Okay? So those are things that you need to look at. In addition to, you may end up having the floor covering, and you pick out some carpet in through here, and you've got to look at the back. Underneath, usually an architectural binder, you may end up picking up here what are the different dye methods, fibers, other things that could be in size, insulation, flammability. You see flammability? It's going to see ASTM E648, and it says Class 1, NFPA 258, 450 or less. So it's giving you the flammability, and this is kind of what you're wanting. So if you're not sure, you can always call the manufacturer and ask them if it's a Class 1 or 2 for floor coverings, remember we're looking at, or a Class A, B, or C, so that they kind of understand. These, of course, are in architectural binders that you might end up seeing. An architectural binder that might look like this. I don't know if you can really see that. I'm kind of close. And a binder and a modular, kind of looking at it, and you can see those in the resource room. Other companies may have, like in the architectural binders, you can see it here, they're going to give you, of course, the information on the back of the binder. Not underneath the fabric, but under the back of it. And so, if I can move over here so you can kind of read it and understand it here. Let's see if I can focus this a little bit. So, it's going to give you physical testing. It's going to say radiant panel class 1, peel test passes, smoke density is less than 450, static, because sometimes you want to know that. You don't want to put a bunch of computers in something. If it's less than 3.8, and it has ADA compliance, so for accessible routes. So these are things that you may need to know when it comes to the floor covering, so we're looking at those. Okay, so let's continue on and